Wow, look at you guys. This is incredible. Welcome to the Virginia Citizens Defense League's 18th annual lobby day. Gun owners of all races and creeds from Virginia and across the country are here to stand in solidarity against gun control. I want to thank all of you for coming out on such a cold day.
Well, we won't back down. We're gonna stand our ground. We know you're trying to open the gates of hell, but we won't back down. So yes, we'll stand our ground. We won't be pushed around. We must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear that these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense. And if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. So we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
Well, hello. Hi, Philip. Hi, everybody. Philip, do you have your mic muted?
Yeah, good seeing everybody check in.
There you are. Yep.
Around. I have to admit, though, I do miss our in-person meetings that we had in Annandale and occasionally around the state and other places. I still miss those. But I got to see a few of the friendly faces just the other night in Fairfax.
Good. So, lots going on.
Yeah, massive amounts going on. Again, we're in a war. There's going to be stuff going on constantly. And that kind of brings me to a point. I know, Fairfax went the way we pretty much all expected it would. Although, they had some tap dancing to do because of so much testimony against everything they were doing. And I had some people say, well, why do we bother? We're just wasting our time. And I just want to make it clear to everybody out there that this organization refuses to cede ground. If you're going to take ground from us, you're going to fight for it. We're not going to walk away and say, well, you're going to do it anyhow. We're not going to bother you. Oh, hell no.
We'll get them next time.
Yeah, that's right. We have snapped preemption away. We put in preemption in 2004. In 2003, we did it for permit holders. In 2004, we brought in everybody. We'll do it again. they best be enjoying what they got while they have it, because our mission is going to be to rip away and get rid of that local gun control again.
They should take a picture of it because it will be an item for history. It won't be
Yeah,
very
I'm going to
long.
be laughing as they're taking down all these expensive signs and having to destroy them once those laws are not worth the paper they're written on again. And I think it was one of the Board of Supervisors, Penny Gross, that said, "Oh, I'm glad that I was in here long enough to see this happen." And I'm thinking to myself, Penny, you might want to retire so that you're not in there when we undo what you just did.
Right. And she's actually the supervisor. Her office is in the Annandale police station where we have our meetings, and she can't stand it.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to be having our meetings there anymore. Actually, we'd already made up our mind on that before any of this happened anyhow. If we wanted to continue, we'd have to be disarmed. Right. But we made up our mind anyhow, because they've had us closed all this time. We've been unable to hold a meeting there, even though we could, except for this quote unquote COVID stuff. So we're looking for a new location. There'll be and it may or may not be in Northern Virginia. We haven't decided yet exactly what we're going to do on that, and we'll get around to it. But for now,
at least now with the Facebook and the YouTube and both live, people from all over the state, all over the country, and all over the world can tune in and follow along with us.
Absolutely. And regardless of whether we have a central location every month to meet, which I'm sure we will again, where I don't know, we should still do this. Absolutely. Sure. I'm watching people checking in from all over the state. That's wonderful. We got Northern Virginia, but we have Newport News and other places checking in. That's great.
Sure.
So, I'm a sarcastic SOB, and I just couldn't hold back. Today I was writing that alert about Fairfax and about the chairman's response that, "Oh, we've waited 27 years to do this. That's why we've got to do this." I just couldn't resist. I said,
well,
"So yeah,
it's to stop all those problems that have cropped up. The
non-problems that have cropped up." But again, I'll say this: we keep seeing the same talking points. When our side came up to speak in Fairfax, we all had unique. We were there in person, but for the most part, there were a few that did a video or called in. But the vast majority of us took the time to go down there. And there were still like 15 or 20 people in there at 2 a.m. or whatever when this thing was over. I mean, we were in there. We gave our individual reasons why this was a bad deal. The other side had their talking points. It was the same thing over and over and over. All but two of them called in or did a pre-written or pre-done YouTube video or whatever that they played for their 3 minutes. Only two of them bothered to come in. So, and the talking points were, well, it's too easy to get a permit. You can get them online and with very little training, blah, 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 blah. My answer to that when I spoke was, show me the problem. Where is there a problem? And what makes you think that just because somebody is taking an online course that they haven't been shooting their whole life? They had to take the course to get a permit. That doesn't mean they don't know more than some of the guys teaching classes. So, but there's no problem. They're solving a problem that we know isn't there, and we need to make. I try to remind them of that. And
the online was extended. That's to January 1st of 2021.
Well, it was extended to January. However, I fully expect it'll go to July 1st of 2021, and then it could be extended beyond there. Originally, there was a bill in that would have extended it to 2022, July 1. And the Senate, they backed it up to July 1, 2021, which gives us another 6 months of that. But it passed out of the Senate unanimously, 40-0. That's a very good sign that it should clear the House. Even the gun controllers have a hard time arguing that since they've shut down everything, they don't want people meeting in person. They want what we're doing now. They have a hard time arguing that we shouldn't have online training. So the timing of COVID really.
Where everything else, the DMV, doctors, lawyers, everybody has online training nowadays.
Yeah, you can go to college online and everything else, but heaven forbid you take a gun. It's got the word gun in it, so therefore all the rules go out the window for these people.
Right,
a bunch of hypocrites. But The other thing was, over 25 years, keep in mind we have 635,000 or so permit holders. That's well over 500,000. It's a big proportion of the state when you think about the fact that we're only an 8.5 million person state. In over 25 years of people carrying in, day out across the state, they've had 2 murders by a permit holder that was documented, 2. And so what's that make the murder rate? 0.0000, whatever. I mean, it makes it, well, you hate to think of anybody being murdered. It happens. They had a police officer on duty, but about 4 or 5 years ago, in his patrol car, went out and killed his wife from the patrol car. And we don't want to get rid of police over that. The bad apples, we got laws, they go to jail. That's what laws do. The rest of us should be left alone. So, but they just had one excuse after another. But by us, this is something I really want to emphasize to everybody out there. Another reason that we're not only are we not ceding ground. Look, many times I'll have a debate with a gun controller, and we'll be debating and people will be standing around listening or watching on television or whatever. Understand that I'm not trying to change the gun controller's mind. I'm not going to be able to do that. So why am I wasting my time? I'm not wasting my time. That conversation is being heard by everybody else. All the fence sitters, all the people that don't really understand this stuff get to hear their side and our side. And I'm confident that every time they do that, they're going to walk away looking at things the way we do, not the way they. And so those of you that called in, those of you that went down there, yeah, you didn't stop. They backed up a little bit in Fairfax County. They, like Bull Run, they exempted that, which is a little shooting area, I guess. But you also were on television and other people were watching this debate. And the fact that it wasn't just one side spurting their baloney, that another side stood up and explained what the truth is and made people think about all the other consequences of gun control. That was invaluable. And I thank everybody that did that. And keep in mind that that is always the case when you're speaking in public like that. Don't worry about the person you're debating. Be thinking about the people that are watching that debate. That's what's important, winning hearts and minds. And so we have a setback, and we're going to have a few. None of us are surprised by this. We knew it was coming. As soon as they passed that, I already was looking at my list saying, all right, Fairfax County, Falls Church, and so forth. Charlottesville, no surprises. But we're not ceding the ground. That doesn't mean we're going to give it to them. They're going to have to fight.
Well, it's just like on lobby day when people are like, well, what'd you guys do? And it's like, well, there's 60 bills that we killed and all the others got watered down. So if there's no VCDL there, you might all be criminals by just having your regular Glock 19 with a regular mag. I mean, so we stopped all that.
Yeah. Do we wish we could have completely stopped it all? Of course we do. But it's hard to win a game when you're dealt a hand that's got a bunch of low cards in it. And that's the hand we were playing. We played the heck out of it. But the elections gave us a horrible, horrible hand to play. But we played it. We didn't walk away and throw our cards down and say, well, c'est la vie. No, that's not who we are. We're gonna play the hand we're dealt, but believe me, we'll be back, and we're gonna have a whole different hand as long as you guys go out and vote, give us something to work with, and then we'll see what happens.
Right. The gun owners definitely have to vote, and there's no, Philip and I have talked about this before offline. There is no perfect candidate. I mean, if you had a candidate, Fred Jones that says, I'm going to give a gun to everybody that votes for me, and he's got a 0.5% chance of winning, he might be pro-gun, but he's not going to be the guy. So vote for someone that is pro-gun enough that he's going to be better than the anti, and he has actually a chance of winning.
Yeah. We all want perfection. It's human nature, and there's nothing wrong with seeking perfection. We all try to do this in our lives. We try to be the best people we can be. But the truth is, it's virtually impossible to reach the goal of perfection. And it's certainly impossible with candidates. So you vote for the best one. And if later on another guy comes along who's better, well, guess what? You go for the guy who's better, that's going to win. It stands a chance of winning. Sure, you keep working on that. But in the meantime, if you walk away because you don't have the perfect candidate, then you give the other side all of their perfect candidates or the best that they can get. That's beyond crazy. We're not going to, win by saying, well, if we're going to lose one soldier, I'm not going to fight in that particular battle. Well, no, you're going to lose the war, guaranteed. It's just the way it is. And I think most of you get that, just a few don't. And well, sometimes it's just a matter of thinking things through, and standing back and understanding these things.
Right.
So, so we had that. We've got some more localities that are hopefully becoming in pretty soon with their no local gun control. I think at the end of the day, again, the map is going to look very much like it did for sanctuaries.
Sure.
It's going to be mostly green. This state is going to be vastly green. You're going to see just a little sprinkling, a little tiny little area in the middle of the state, a little bit in the southeast, and then up in Northern Virginia.
And if you have a place like Alexandria or Fairfax or Loudoun, and they say, okay, you can't carry in parks or county-owned buildings or properties anymore, what happens if you do? And what happens if you carry concealed and nobody even? I mean, we're certainly not asking anybody to break the law, but what if somebody's just maybe they don't even know because it's changed and they're carrying concealed and they go to the library to return their book?
Yeah. All of this sets up for what I call victimless crime. There is no victim. If I inadvertently carry concealed in a Fairfax County park now or a government building, who's the victim? Who got hurt? Nobody. There are no victims. This is a victimless. This is a law that simply says something is bad because we say it's bad, not because it really is bad, not because it hurts anything, but we say it's bad. That's what you've got here. And I'll be honest. Look, I've talked to police and very recently, and over and over and over, I am really either being told or getting the impression they have no interest in enforcing this against anybody like, the Virginia's permit holders. They have no interest in it. When I was a deputy sheriff, I got into that because I wanted to go after violent criminals. I wanted to protect the people of Bexar County, Texas, from violent criminals. That was my goal. It wasn't doing a lot of other things that involved things where people weren't being hurt or they weren't dangerous. But I will say this: don't ever put a police officer in an awkward position with this stuff. Let's say you're walking in a park and suddenly you realize, oh, what am I doing? I wandered, from where I am into the edge of a Fairfax park. Don't run up to a police officer and say, I didn't mean to do this, but I've got a gun on me. Don't do that. They don't want to know. What they don't know, they're not worried about. Don't do that. If you make a mistake, then leave. If you make a mistake, they see your gun, then just say, I'm sorry, and be gone. Just immediately comply. And if you're carrying concealed, my question to you is, how in the heck did they see your gun? And if they did see it, that just means you're not doing a good job. If you're going to carry concealed, carry concealed.
It's funny that you mentioned that scenario, because I had a friend that did it, or acquaintance, not a friend, a guy that did exactly that. Supposedly it's supposed to be at a certain street, it was legal to carry. So just to confirm, he walked up to the cop and says, okay, look, I've got my permit, I'm carrying concealed, I'm standing here, but if I step off right here, am I actually breaking the law? And the cop's like, well, yeah, and come with me.
He booked him because he was so stupid. It was right. Like, I've got to get this guy off the streets. Yeah, and sometimes, and the police don't always know the laws. Their focus is the good cops focus on criminals, really criminals, the kind of guys that are dangerous, the kind of people that are putting lives in danger because they're drunk driving or they're doing something like that. There are a million laws out there, and although the courts say that we're expected to know them all, everybody knows that's baloney. That's good to say in court, but there's nobody that knows all the laws, including the judge that's telling you should know all the laws. Nobody does. So the cops, having been one myself, focus on the laws that mostly apply to violent crime or more dangerous crime. That's what they focus on because that's the number one priority. Do you stop the guy that's jaywalking, or do you stop the guy that just pulled a gun and is robbing somebody? Are they both equally to be stopped? No. You prioritize.
Right.
So, it's just, again, I just emphasize, don't put police in awkward positions. Just go about your lives. And I mean, there was a famous, a case that I heard of some years ago of a lady that had traveled, was on her honeymoon going from Illinois to Florida or the Bahamas or something. And she had stopped, the plane laid over for a few hours in Atlanta. And she had looked in a bag that her mother-in-law gave her to take on her honeymoon. And lo and behold, there was a gun in there. So what she should have done was said, whoops, and went to the nearest exit of that airport and got out of there. Instead, she went to a police officer and said, look, I had no idea that she cleared security in Chicago, but she goes, I had no idea I had this with me. And
you guys missed it.
Yeah. And what they do, they arrested her. So she spent her honeymoon for a couple of days in a jail. And again, some people will say, well, that was awfully mean of the police, but understand that the police raised their hand, and that would have been probably a felony. It would have been a felony. So with a felony, they're kind of stuck if they know about it, arresting you. If it's a misdemeanor, they usually have discretion to say, all right, don't do that again. So if she hadn't put the cop in an awkward position, nobody would have been hurt in any of this. She would have just gotten out and mailed the gun back to herself or did something with it, but just get it out of that airport and not take it on a plane. She was trying to do the right thing, but that doesn't mean you have to confess to something like that. Anyhow, so it's just the kind of stuff that you need to think about as you're out there going about your lives.
Yeah.
And Ed, if you see any questions out there, they're flashing by faster than I can keep an eye on them. But we can.
We have a troll in there that's just doing some name calling, and he's challenging some of the people, and so they're just.
Okay. So no, hopefully nobody's feeding the troll. They're pretty ugly.
Right.
Yeah, that's so typical. That is so typical. I wonder how many of you've gone out there trolling on the other side. We just don't do that. The issue is that if you're not sure of your side, if you're not sure of your points, if you're not sure of your philosophy, that it's really good, that it really makes sense, then you go for dirty tricks. You go for one thing or another to try to disrupt the other side because you don't have confidence in your own side. So that's a big difference between how they work and how we work. And
are all these places?
Go ahead.
Are all these places that put up a new gun control, are they required to sign every place where there is?
Yes.
So you know.
So if they have a library and they forget to put signs in it, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. Every entrance has to be signed. If the building is got signs, but there isn't one on one of the doors, and you walk in through that door, then you're fine. If there's a parade going on and they don't have signs everywhere, then you're fine in those areas that don't have signs. So
even so, it's almost like a trespass. They have to say, hey, you can't have that here. You got to leave. Right.
That's generally how they're enforcing this. They're basically saying, yeah, we don't want to entrap good people. I think the police are pushing this because there's no advantage to trapping somebody like you or me or any of our members out there. That's not going to do anything for crime. We're not the kind of people that hurt others. So, So basically, if you're going about your life and you end up wandering into somewhere like a park, and somebody sees your gun, then you'll be approached, and just go. I mean, don't, just apologize and be gone, just out of there. I wouldn't spend an hour apologizing. I'd say, whoops, I'm sorry, and whoop, I'd be headed for the exit, just like that.
Yep. People ask on a pretty regular basis about lawsuits. Is some of that double secret, or you want to talk about what lawsuits we have going?
No, there's nothing. No, the lawsuits that we've got are We have one that is alive that went back to lobby day. That says the governor does not have the authority under his emergency or his emergency orders to ban guns at the Capitol, at the outside, the Capitol grounds. Now that's still alive, and that's one. The second one we have that's alive is one handgun a month. We tried to get a stay on that. We didn't, but it's very much alive. And the third one was universal background checks, which is alive. And that one, we did get a stay on that law for 18, 19, or 20-year-olds, or anybody selling to an 18, 19, or 20-year-old. That transaction does not have to go through a universal background check right now. That stay expires sometime in October, but the idea is by then, the court should have heard the entire case and made a decision. And then
and the one handgun a month, that's still exempt for CHP holders, right?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh wait, I'm not thinking universal background checks. Yes, CHP holders are exempt. Universal background checks were not exempt. We are exempt for one handgun a month. On universal background, I'm sorry, Ed. Yeah, it was my mistake. Universal background checks, if you're giving a gun to somebody, it's a pure gift. Not getting anything in
I'll
return.
cut your grass for you for a week.
Mowing your lawn, yeah, cleaning your car. Nothing in return. It's a gift to somebody. Doesn't have to even be family. But if it's a pure gift, if I wanted to give a gift to, say, Dennis O'Connor of a gun, I could give him a gun. No universal background check. But there cannot be a quid pro quo. Cannot be something coming back to me.
Now, there's a kind of a catch there. Like, if you're 19, 20 years old and someone says, like at a gun show, you used to be able to buy a gun from a friend. But now if you're 19 or 20 and I've got a gun you want, and you say, okay, I'll give you $300 for that. And I'm like, well, you can't go get a background check for a handgun because you're not 21, right?
Right. But
So
he can buy it directly from you because of the universal background checks aren't required. You can sell directly to him, but he has to buy a gun from somebody like you. It's got to be a private sale.
Okay.
Yeah. He can still own that handgun. He can still buy one, and he's subject to one gun a month, but he's not subject to universal background checks if they're 18, 19, or 20, or you're selling to somebody 18, 19, or 20.
Okay, so I misunderstood that. I thought if somebody 20 years old says, I want to buy a gun from you, because it's not just a gift, they have to go through a universal background check.
No, that's where our lawsuit won a stay on that.
Oh, gotcha.
So recapping again, if you've got two issues, one handgun a month, that limitation applies to everybody but CHP holders and police. So, or if you have a curios and relic license and you're buying a curio and relic, then you're also exempt from that. But 18, 19, or 20-year-olds, if they buy a gun, they have to buy it from an individual, but they're also falling under the one gun a month at that point. Now, for the universal background checks, none of us, the CHP holders, are not exempt from that. The only people that are exempt from universal background checks are 18, 19, or 20-year-olds. And that's to make sure they can buy a gun at all. Otherwise, they'd be locked out of the Second Amendment for handguns.
Sure.
The handgun thing here, and that they'd be locked out of. And so that's... So 18, 19, or 20-year-olds or a bona fide gift to somebody is exempt from universal background check. So a father could also just give a gun to his son that's 19 years old. That's perfectly fine. Again, it doesn't have to be family. So it's broad, although you would, you might have a best friend or something that you want to gift a gun to for Christmas or whatever.
In reality, and again, we don't ever advocate anybody not following the law, but in reality, there's no paperwork or anything, so they would not know that you didn't give it to them last year.
Yeah. There's always that. Of course,
unless you posted on social media, I just gave this to so and so. Yeah.
Well, it's like a lot of laws. Really, they're stupid and aren't going to do anything. We know that these background check laws really, we have more crime with firearms, like mass shootings and stuff. They weren't having those before we had background checks. There was no school shootings in the 50s and 60s. Then we came along with background checks, and then in the 70s, the late 70s and into the 80s and beyond, then all of a sudden we had school shootings and other stuff suddenly cropped up.
Well, people used to bring their
guns. Like all gun
people used to bring their guns to school.
Sure, there was no problem with that. People weren't intimidated. That was the thing that all these moms demand action people. Oh, I'm frightened to go anywhere with those gun owners. I'll tell you what, if you've ever been around those women, they're the most obnoxious people you'd ever want to meet. They're not shy about anything. I've had them come up and yell at me. I mean, there's no, it's all baloney. It's all a bunch of lies. The whole bit. It's all I could do is put my head in my hand and shake my head when I was listening to their testimony. It's all baloney. So we're eventually going to have a announcement about Lobby Day. Lobby Day is January 18th, 2021. That's Monday, Martin Luther King's birthday.
Oh, but isn't the General Assembly closed because it's a holiday, Phil?
We're going to get that as always. Yeah, no, they're open. I can't believe that. We've been doing it for years, and still every year somebody says, a bunch of people say, but it's a holiday.
Well, they warn us. You guys know.
Really? Just want to let you know it's a holiday. A couple of times I've gone, oh no, you're kidding me. But we'll have some announcements, more details on that, because I know a lot of people are worried about the gun control that's been passed in Richmond. So everybody just take a breath and relax.
I see a friend of mine in the chat, Ruby Tour, Dr. Ruby, who his story, if he could tell it, he was a gun grabbing liberal. Guns are not for everybody, blah blah blah, and on his own he found VCDL. It's almost like finding the light. He found VCDL, read up on gun laws and gun control, and thought, wait a second, these guys are right. No one's going to protect me at 3 a.m. except me. And he's one of the people that turned the corner.
Yeah, and he's
good to see you, Dr. Ruby.
I believe he was there in Fairfax on Tuesday. So yeah, there's a lot of people like that. There was somebody else that got up and said, "Yeah, I'm a liberal, but I am a gun owner and I want that right protected." There's a lot of people like that.
We have some liberals that are in our membership that are like executive members and things like that. That
absolutely,
and that's why this good segue to. I answer, in fact, for those of you, we have a lot of new people. Philip is the president of the organization. I'm an executive member and the social media director. So I answer a lot of the incoming emails on Facebook and things like that. And I get hundreds of emails, literally. Philip's in the thousands. I'm only in the hundreds. But I get, hey, they're going to tear down this statue, or we're going to back the blue on this, or we're going to march with Black Lives Matter for that. And I'm like, we are a single issue organization. Gun rights in Virginia only, nothing else. And they're like, oh, but this is a GoFundMe for this kid that blah, 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 or this cancer. I'm like, nope, I feel you. And I understand gun rights only in Virginia. Sometimes they're like, okay, I understand. Other times they're like, well, I'm not going to renew my membership then because you won't take on my issue. And I'm like, well, you want us to be gun rights in Virginia only. You want us. This is what your membership pays us for. This is what you want us to fight, because if we start going off on 20 different directions, we are not going to be effective at the things you want us to do.
Yeah, we do indeed get that a lot. And I thoroughly understand a lot of people's concerns, but now some people, because that's our policy, that sometimes people don't really understand. Like they'll say, well, you went to speak at a Blue Lives Matter thing. And the thing is, if I'm an invited speaker, I usually go to where I'm invited. Now, there are times I might not, depending on some weird invitation from some organization I wanted nothing to do with. But if I'm invited to speak, I look at it as any opportunity to reach out to the public.
You might get a few new members, or wake some new people.
New members, wake people up that maybe hadn't been exposed to us and the truth about gun rights.
I've always told these people, I mean, it's great to work the gun show and you sign up a lot of people and you see a lot of friends, but we got to get out there at the different events and the different fairs and the different festivals where people are not expecting a gun rights booth, and just talk to people. And you will find when you do that, because I've done that many times, you will find that people, first, they had no idea that we existed. And second, not only do they want to join, they want to become more involved because they want to talk to their supervisors and their legislatures, lawmakers, and say, no, I don't want this. But they didn't even know until you were there at that event.
Yeah,
and we've got all the details. We've got the booths, we got the stickers, we got the applications, we got it all for you.
Yeah, and so now if VCDL was holding one of those events, then I could understand where they would say, well, now you're kind of deviating from guns. So just want everybody to be clear on that. And you'll know, because I usually tell everybody, hey, I'm an invited speaker here, and I do that so people know. And if people want to come, if it's an open event, come out and hear what I have to say, or be there to support and talk to other people about gun rights. Good, be there. Do this stuff. We want to make sure we're high profile as we can possibly be. But we do get it a lot. So I want people to understand. Now, we do have that match coming up, which is an interesting thing in the sense that what we decided to do was reach out a little bit to, if you will, our embattled other fellow gun owners, which is law enforcement right now. They're getting kicks, and we thought, well, we should at least do something fun together. Get to do something as two groups of people that have common interests. We stand on the same side of the fence that they do, law and order and liberty, and so we still have some openings. If any of you have ever shot in any kind of a match and you want to be a part of this, which would be on Saturday, September 26th, coming up in a little over a week or so. Get a hold of me, or I'll forward your information on to John Wilburn, who's kind of heading this up for me, and we'll get you on the list. We've got 2 VCDL teams, and we've got 4 sheriff's teams. And I'm having a trophy made up so that the winner will get a nice trophy. The leading sheriff's team. And if VCDL wins, if we end up being at the top of the list, then I'm going to have trophies made up for the people on the team. But there'd be a really nice trophy for the sheriff's department that
we beat the gun owners.
Yeah. So whichever sheriff's department is at the top, even if they didn't beat VCDL, will get a nice trophy that they can then show off to the other 3 sheriff's departments and everybody else. For the event, and we'll have a trophy for the top shooter, regardless of who he's with, whether he's a sheriff or whether he's one of us. There'll be a trophy for the top shot of that match, and it'll be a blast. This is going to be an IDPA thing where you literally
a blast.
Yes, literally. You'll have different scenarios. You'll be either drawing from a holster, or who knows, they're going to be setting all this stuff up. There's going to be 6 stages. You'll have 6 different chances to shoot in different scenarios. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe we could live stream it, Ed. I don't know. I mean, I would think, or maybe parts of it, we could do something on that.
At least put some video up from put it on the YouTube or something.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I see from what we were talking about, I see Brendan Brown says he lived in Nova for 6 years as a gun owner and had no idea about VCDL until he saw a news article with someone wearing our bright orange Gun Saved Lives stickers that, are marked that everybody sees this Gun Saved Lives. And he zoomed in on it to see the website and found out how we were there. So that's a great idea, a great thing that you did. And also there was a gentleman that just motioned and said, do we do any type of advertising? And we do. We put things on our social media and we boost them with ads. We've got a commercial out there that says,
Ed, why don't you play? Can you play that commercial? Let them watch it.
Oh yeah. Give me a second to pull it up and I'll play it. Good idea.
We've got at least 3 commercials we could play. But right now, we're not running them everywhere. They're just online. I think the board needs to look at this, and hopefully we'll start running them on television again. We've run them before on television. We need to probably start doing it again.
All right, I'll find. I got it right here. Just give me a second to
Yeah,
get.
once Ed finds it, he can show his desktop, and you guys can watch it. I thought it was a good one. There's a lot of different angles. We had one that was a law enforcement angle, law enforcement talking about the importance of our gun rights. Another one was talking about gun control and the fact that that the Democrat Party is the one that's been pushing gun control. The gun control from the beginning has been to control minorities.
Right.
And then we have the one that Ed's going to play.
So I'm going to show you one of our commercials right now. So everybody stand by.
Dozens of Atlanta police officers calling out for a third straight day now.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
What began in these uncertain times of civil unrest, riots, looting, and vicious attacks on innocent people, the only person that you can count on for protection is the person that you see in your mirror. Join the Virginia Citizens Defense League today at VCDL.org, defending your right to defend yourself.
And there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And on the website, on the front page there, we have I think we have both of the other ones up there as well. So yeah, we need to keep playing those because again, so many people don't know a lot of this stuff. They don't know the roots of gun control. They're supporting something that, in some cases, when I think of like Black Americans that support gun control, I'm sure they don't know that this whole thing was put in place to disarm them. They did not want freed black slaves to have access to guns. And I think the more people realize that the reason that there's gun control is to keep us all under the thumb of government, the more hopefully that we'll stand up and decide that it's time for them to become a gun owner as well.
So it looks like Pat's going to join us soon. I don't see her video yet. But Pat is our secretary of the organization, board member, and the treasurer. So we'll look forward to having her input when she joins.
Can you find the one on the website, the one about guns and the right to keep and bear arms and gun control?
Yep. Let me take a look.
You'll scroll down a little bit. I think it's.
Oh, on the page.
I think it's on the main page. Or at least the one with the sheriffs is there. You can play that if you see it, but I think they're both up there.
Sure. It just depends on how we posted or how we had it listed.
Yeah, it was an item by itself, and it's kind of worked its way towards the end of the main page because so much has been going on.
All right, let me see if this will work.
As the elected sheriffs in your community, we support your Second Amendment rights to bear arms.
We took an oath to uphold both the constitutions of the United States and Virginia.
Contact the governor and your legislators and ask them to support the Second Amendment.
As your sheriffs, there is nothing more important to us than the safety and security of you and your families.
Authorized and paid for by the Virginia Citizens Defense League.
Yep. And then there's the other one.
I'm going to go look for that one.
Yeah, it should be in the general vicinity. It should have been a little bit higher up, perhaps.
Okay.
In fact, that one features a couple of our members and their families. While you're doing that, let me take a look here and see if there's any questions that I can answer.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Many people want to overlook the racist roots of gun control here in America.
Post-Reconstruction carry permits were often issued at the whim of the courts,
often denying minorities the right to defend themselves against hate groups. Martin Luther King's application for a concealed carry permit was denied by the authorities, even after his house was blown up. Owning a gun is a right that guarantees one's ability to protect all of your other rights. The right to worship how you want, the right to say what you want, the right to gather with like-minded people and tell the government no. Without the Second Amendment, infringements upon all of our other natural and God-given rights can and will happen. That is why we at the Virginia Citizens Defense League work so hard to defend your right to protect you and your loved ones. Because at the end of the day, we are only one race, human, and basic human rights apply to everyone.
Yeah, another outstanding one.
So if anybody wants to share those on your social media, they are all on our YouTube channel or on the VCDL.org webpage. And we welcome Pat Webb, our Secretary and Treasurer.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I had technical difficulties tonight.
Yeah, the rain probably didn't help that, did it?
No, it didn't.
My internet was terribly slow today with all this. I was looking up here. I saw somebody commenting, I think that they just recently decided that they were going to get a gun. And partly it was because I think the rioting, if I read it right, you haven't seen my screen, it keeps scrolling by here, but I think it was something to that effect. That in other words, they just hadn't owned a gun. Then suddenly looking around seeing riots and nobody stopping them. There's a million reasons I think that people ultimately become gun owners, but it's usually something like that. It's looking at your safety and suddenly realizing for some people, it's like one case was, I don't know if she ever became a gun owner, but it was a case I've talked about before, a reporter who was interviewing me. She spent all day with me. She was with the Washington Post. And at one point, I asked her, I said, let me ask you a question. And I said, are you a gun owner? She said, no. I said, you said you were a mother and you've got, you got a child, if a criminal wants your girl, he walks up and grabs her, are you going to let him walk away with her? And her eyes, she could have killed me with laser beams coming out of her eyes at the thought of somebody.
Oh, I'm going to call 911.
No, she looked at me with an I think I saw a light switch on that just hadn't been there before. I said, what are you going to do? You're going to stomp your feet? You're going to yell really loud? I said, you could call 911, but by the time the police get there, he will have driven off with your little girl. And the question is, will you ever see her again alive? That little girl's depending on you. How are you going to save her? And I don't know if she ever became a gun owner. I've got no idea, but I'll say one thing. I definitely struck a chord. And I would be shocked.
There was a meme going around on social media that was talking about if someone breaks into my house, I'm going to sit down and offer them coffee and try and find out where they were steered wrong in life and try and clear that up and make it happen.
Wait a minute. The other night, Tuesday night in Fairfax County, I kid you not, there was one of the callers in that was talking, giving their testimony that said something to that effect, that he had seen something about some criminal was doing something, and he went up and he was talking to the guy and trying to and he claims he got the guy to quiet down and walk away. Well, maybe so, maybe not, but I'll tell you what. If you come across a sociopath, that isn't going to work. You are dead unless you can defend yourself, because they will enjoy killing you. You cannot talk your way out of somebody wanting to do something. That's like somebody talking you out of it. You're starving and somebody puts a big steak dinner in front of you and somebody trying to talk you out of not eating it. Good luck. So anyhow, but somebody actually made that allegation.
Alex popped up and said he wants a VCDL shirt. Where can he get them? All of our stuff, shirts, hats, bags, buttons, all that stuff is on the website. We have a store at VCDL.org that you can browse there and, buy your trinkets and things like that. Usually at an event, we hand out the Gun Save Live stickers. In fact, somebody the other day, one of the antis says they were at a place and she got the person handing out the stickers to confide in her that they're being paid to hand out the stickers, which kind of made me giggle a little bit. We're grassroots. All the people that you see out there are just like the people in your mirror. They're the people that just are tired of this and don't want any more gun control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and the truth is, it could have been somebody that was paid by the Trump rally to be at the Trump rally, and they just happened to be handing out
Oh,
"Gun
good.
Save Lives" stickers.
That's good.
So, but our people are volunteers that you see at all of these events.
Yeah. Pat Murphy, the name of his group is Black Guns Matter, and we know Majay pretty well, and he's spoken at our lobby day, and we're in contact with him. Tess also brought up there's another video which you can find on our webpage and on our YouTube channel. It's basically, it has a bunch of members saying their occupation. I'm Ed, and I'm a telecom engineer, and I carry. And then someone else is a lawyer, and someone is a doctor, and someone's a mom. And it just shows you that it's not just a bunch of bearded, fat, white guys in the back of a pickup truck that carry. It's your neighbors, it's your family, it's your mothers and sisters and brothers and cousins, and they all carry. You just don't always.
Yeah. If you look at the people that were testifying at Fairfax County, man, it was a cross section of America. We had a little bit of everything, all different races, different religions, male, female, and so forth. Just on everybody, all different things, different angles. I think one was somebody that was a transsexual that said that they have had severe threats on their lives of people that didn't like them and didn't like what they were, and they wanted the right to protect themselves because they could be attacked in a park. You could went on and on. We're all
there's not much gay bashing of gays when the gays carry guns.
Right. And I think one of the interesting things there too was there was an article some years ago about a gay person that decided he wanted to become a gun owner because of that very kind of reason. But he was really worried when he went to a gun range. He thought, "Oh man, they're going to rip me apart." And in the article he wrote, he was absolutely, we won't be amazed, but he was amazed how accepting everybody was. How he just came right in and became part of the gang. People were over there helping him, showing him how to shoot and giving him tips and the whole bit.
80,000 of us got along pretty well together down in Richmond, from every walk of life, every color, and every race, every whatever.
It was so proud to see all of that. It's wonderful. Pat?
Right. Not just accepting, but helpful. And to speak to what you were talking about with the reporter, there was an article that came through my feed a few days ago about, I think it was a woman, a mother that stopped a carjacking with her kids in the car. They were going to take her car with her kids still in it. And because she was armed, the bad guys didn't like the outcome. So, and her kids were safe.
Yeah, boy, if he'd driven off with those kids, you may never have seen him again. Yeah, absolutely. It goes on all the time. And again, this was part of the lies the Mom Demand Action Group. They'll take statistics and they'll change a few words so that they can kind of completely change a narrative on something, rather than talking about the 500,000 minimum to 2.5 to 3 million times that a gun is used to stop a crime. They were saying, "Oh, well, only less than 1% of crimes are stopped by permit holders." Well, part of that is that we're rarely attacked. I mean, and by stopping a crime, I don't know if they mean brandishing a gun. 9 times out of 10, if you pull a gun, there is no what happened may not even be reported. You should report it to protect yourself if you have to draw a gun to scare somebody off. But I think a lot of times it's just not. The threat's over, or the police come and nothing happened. They take a report, the guy went off, but there was no actual crime yet to report because there was no victim yet. There was going to be a victim, but they saved themselves.
So Phil is asking Phil and me, but I'm gonna let Phil answer. Your expert opinion: can all this gun control and all this BS be turned around?
Yeah, yes, it can. We've been here before. There was a time in Virginia before 2003 when we had lots of local gun control, for example. No, we didn't have red flag laws, but we also did have one handgun a month back then. And in 2003, we got rid of local gun control for permit holders. In 2004, we got rid of it for everybody, and it's been gone until just now. One handgun a month, we've gotten rid of that before. We can do all those things again. But we need to have people to work with. So, you guys need to make sure you do everything you can to get somebody elected that's on our side of the fence. The best person you can find, whoever that is that's running that can win, help them. And if your district is hopeless, there's absolutely nobody in your district that you can support because they're 100% horrible, then give money to another candidate. Find somebody else somewhere in Virginia that is good, that's in a race where they need help, and put your money there. Because if they win, they will help outvote your bad representative. So look at it that way.
The flip of that is, if you have an absolutely great guy that never falters, help the guy in the next race also.
Right. If your guy's got, like, if he doesn't have an opponent, or it's just so certain he's going to win, then you can put your money and effort elsewhere, helping another area where it's a tighter race. All we want to do is we want to win, and we do that by supporting whoever we can to try to make sure that happens.
Right. John asks about the plan for Lobby Day now that Stoney has gotten his bill passed. I don't think it was a bill, right?
No, it's an ordinance. And let me just say, stand by on that for now. Just take it easy. We're well more than aware of how that could affect Lobby Day, and just relax. So when the time is right, we'll be talking about Lobby Day. But for now, make your plans to be there. We'll be there.
Jerry, lots and lots, but not enough. How many members are in the VCDL? That's probably a Pat question.
It's a Pat question.
That is a Pat question. Right now, about 35,000. And thanks for asking, because it gives me a chance to talk about two things. First off, I would love to see our membership triple by Lobby Day. And that's easily doable, but it's going to take every one of you talking to your friends, getting them to sign up, stressing the importance of strength in numbers, and protecting our Second Amendment rights, and the leverage that it's going to take to get these bills overturned and get back to where we should be. The second thing I want to talk about is the auto renew program. Some of you have already signed up, switched over to auto renew. And when you did, you may have noticed that your membership date did not advance. And if you had paid ahead, it actually went back to October 1st, 2020 for renewal. We're aware of that, and I'm going in and manually fixing it. So after October 1st, starting October 1st, when you renew and switch over to auto renew, it will work correctly, provided you're not paid ahead. If you are paid ahead and you want to switch to auto renew, contact me first, treasurer@vcdl.org, and I'll get it straightened out. So we're still working the kinks out of this new system, and it's going to take a little time, and we appreciate your patience on that.
Yes, we penalize you for paying.
Oh, trust me, I was on the phone yelling at Wild Apricot for most of the day yesterday and today. They told me that it was supposed to work this way, and I said, who in their right mind would make it work that way?
And I know I get yelled at by Philip for this number. So it's 600,000-ish concealed handgun permit holders.
635,000 approximately. I need to update that number. I'm sure.
How many?
635,000.
Okay, so 635,000 concealed handgun permit holders, which doesn't even cover gun owners that don't have permits, but that's permit holders in Virginia, and we have 35,000 members. That should be in the 100,000s, at least half. At least there should be 300,000 members.
Absolutely.
And they should all come to Lobby Day.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, we all wish that VCDL didn't need to exist. I mean, there's other things we could all be doing if we didn't have to be protecting our Second Amendment rights. But we do have to exist. And the reason we have to exist is we have to protect that right. It's under attack. We know it's not our imagination, We know that you cannot have a socialist communist country if everybody's armed. So the Second Amendment is under attack, and it's not under attack for good reasons. It is not to do something about crime or public safety. It's just the opposite. So we have to exist, and we're grassroots. So the more of you out there, the stronger we are, because we depend on you as well to do your part in contacting your legislators. So,
plus, it's a lot easier for Philip to walk into a room and say, I've got 40,000, 47,000 people that I represent that want you to do this.
Right. And if they don't believe me, I can put out an alert and then we can melt their phones down. So, but that's important that I can just tell you, just remember what happened in your area when we did the Second Amendment sanctuary. Whatever that magic was, we need to keep that up. We need to keep all those people engaged that were out there by the thousands at all these local board of supervisors and city council meetings that did so much wonderful stuff and magic out there. We need to all stay that engaged. If we are, we're unstoppable. But if we go back and start sleeping again, if a bunch of us go back to sleep thinking, I got other things to do, then that's going to be a problem. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you better news, but that's the way it is. But the good news is enough of us, if we stand together, that we're an absolute force to deal with. And if we use the NATO doctrine, which is basically says an attack on any gun owner is an attack on all gun owners, that also will keep us strong. If the hunters step up and battle with us when the concealed carry permits are under attack, and when the permit holders stand up when hunters are denied being able to use guns in hunting, or they're trying to take their guns away from them, we're all a team on this. Then we'll be unstoppable. But we have to do that, and it's not easy. Gun owners are very independent, and it's much like herding cats because we are so independent. That's our strength, and it's our weakness, if that makes any sense.
Right. And be aware that we have the exact same legislative body this coming session as we did last session. So we're going to see the same bills and then some coming up, and it's not going to be an easy session. Bruce is asking what the preferred payment method is for memberships now. So if you are joining, you can go on the website and join, or you can join at a gun show if they're up and running in your area, or you can mail in an application with a check, money order, or credit card. If you're an existing member, the best way to do it is to log into the website using your email address that you gave us when you signed up. If you've never logged in before, you'll have to use the password reset link in the top right corner of the web page. And once you log in, you can see a little link at the top that says View Profile. And when you click on that, you'll see the renewal link down by your name, down in the body of the page. And you can pay through the website that way. It does not go through PayPal anymore. The advantage to that is it automatically updates in the website, and your membership will be processed more quickly that way. The downside is if you want to contribute to VCDL or to the VCDL PAC, you have to do 3 separate steps. But if you save your card information in the website the first time you do it, the second and third time are easier. So that is how you would join or renew.
I did see someone, I answered him in chat, but he was saying that Herbert Reese said he tried to sign up for membership, but he couldn't pay with his Visa card. So I told him to contact you offline and get that sorted.
Okay.
Give me your Visa card number and I'll try it.
Yeah, if it has a different billing address from your mailing address, that might be the problem. So it does use the billing address to verify. Just double check if you have a separate billing address. If you're still having problems, you can email either me, treasurer@vcdl.org, or membership@vcdl.org, and we can do it over the phone if necessary, or you can mail it in.
Well, so let me, Phil Lowe asked about talking to other members. So we're on the VCDL Facebook page, which we broadcast to, but generally members can't post to the page. Sometimes they'll send us stuff and we'll put it on the page, but the page is more like a one-way thing. Then we have the group where members can talk in the group. We also have a VCDL member-only forum on the VCDL website at vcdl.org where you can talk and make a post and get some answers or talk to other members there. But we're also on MeWe, Parler, Twitter, Instagram, all the major social media. We're on all of those. So wherever you're
And
at,
Reddit.
and Reddit it, whatever. And then there's one that's called The Jump, like you made the jump off Facebook to another one. We're on a lot of them. So wherever you're at, chances are if you search for us, you'll find us. Let's see what else. Any information on CCW delays 45 days now to 6 months? Well, first of all, it is a CHP, not a CCW. Second of all, if you're past the 45-day mark, call your clerk of the court and have them issue you your de facto permit according to the law.
And by the way, hopefully everybody that has a Taurus G3C saw the alert item on that. There is an issue with the G3C with the safety on it. And I wanted to make sure if anybody has one of those, they were aware of it. There's a link to a video that shows what it is. But basically, if you are pulling back on the trigger when you put the safety on, you can have problems. The safety will go on, but the gun can't fire under certain circumstances. So watch that video and make sure you're aware of what that issue is and keep your finger off the trigger when you put the safety on the G3C. And every now and then these things crop up, but we want to make sure all of you are aware of it because none of you are allowed to die or be hurt. So hopefully, or move out of state, by the way, you're also prohibited from doing any of that. It's part of your agreement.
And of course, a safety is a mechanical device that can fail, so never totally rely on a mechanical safety.
Right. I was just going to say that executive member Joanna just gave Phil Lowe a friendly little hand slap saying, if you can't find VCDL, you're not looking because we're everywhere.
We try, but I have to admit that it's amazing how we can be buried. I was on one of your radio stations up in Northern Virginia. I think it was on Monday. It's one of your bigger stations up there. And I'm frequently on things around. I don't always tell everybody. I don't always have time to say, oh, by the way, if you want to listen to this following radio station, I'll be on there. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll tweet those. But we're out there. But everybody's busy, I guess. And I can also understand I'm kind of fed up with some of what I'm seeing in the news anyhow. I'm very picky as to where I get my news from. There's certain channels I would only go to as long as my brain is in invert mode, where everything I hear, if I reverse it, then I know what the truth is. So if they're saying up, I know that they mean down. So
someone's asking about like national, organizations. We kind of sister with Gun Owners of America. If there's something that we have that needs national focus and it's in line with our values and our views, then we'll put out something that says, go look at Gun Owners of America for this piece, or sometimes they'll team up with us even in some of the lawsuits that we're in.
Yeah, Eric Pratt and I have each other's cell number, so we call each other if anything comes up. Now we'll work with any pro-gun organization, and if the NRA were to call and want to work with us, we'd be happy to do so. And by the way, while I'm thinking about it, that I'm going to be starting another campaign that I'm going to need everybody out there to be doing. And this is about the time to start. It's now September, so we need to get rolling on this. Just to give you a heads up. Every year, all your localities put together a packet of what they want the General Assembly to accomplish for them. So I guess for the last 27 years, Fairfax had gun control. Let us do gun control, for example. But a lot of them have other things. So what we're going to do is we're going to be asking our members, all of you guys, to contact, your board of supervisor or your city council member or your town council member and ask them in that packet to put in an item that says you want the General Assembly to repeal the gun control that they passed this year. That will be what your locality wants the General Assembly to do. And that kind of also sort of tasks the senators and delegates from that area with kind of helping to push that agenda forward. So we'll be doing that very shortly. That's one of a million things we got to do. But so we've already done the Second Amendment sanctuaries. We're working on. By the way, if your locality still hasn't done the no local gun control resolution, the information's on the VCDL front page on how you can get there and make sure your locality hasn't done it. Let's push them. We need more on board. We've got, I think, 37 of them. Probably going to have 38 pretty soon, but we're still a ways off. So you need to do that. Get them on board, saying we're not going to do local gun control. And then this third item we'll be working on is say, and I'll put something together so you guys can then just send it off. But it's basically going to say, I would like you to put in your legislative request packet to repeal all the gun control that was passed in 2020.
Sure, Loudon's packet will be very, very thin. It will be one sheet of paper that says, we want what Fairfax and Falls Church does.
Yeah. But we want everybody else saying we want you to repeal it. So I think that's the way to go. So we'll be doing that. If you want to beat me to the punch, go ahead and contact your reps and get the ball rolling in your locality.
Yeah, Brendan, Jared from Guns and Gadgets is a friend, and he does a lot of great videos. Sometimes before he does a video, he'll talk to us and just be like, should I touch on this? Because he's out of state. But it's such a, the whole country is watching what's happening in Virginia. So he reports on it on his channel, and he'll be like, what do you guys think about this? And what about that? Then he'll add his own spin and comments to it, and he helps us get the word out. So we're very familiar with him.
Yeah, Jared's trying to make sure he gets his facts right, which is the way to do it. If you're going to do it, you go to where you can get the information you need to make sure you don't put out anything that's incorrect. Yeah, Jared's great. I like Jared.
Brendan, same with Kali on Noir. He's also a friend, and we've been in contact with him. Plus, he's an attorney. A lot of people don't know he's an attorney. So,
yeah, in fact, with a lot of these guys, it really did extend our reach nationally to, for example, to be on Guns and Gadgets. I mean, it was a real eye opener seeing all the people that follow Jared, as well, obviously, as Colian.
I see Kathy is commenting in there. Kathy, for those that you don't know, Kathy, she is our new PAC chair, and you'll be soon seeing her in emails, hopefully asking you to throw a couple of bucks to the VCDL PAC, which is a great segue time to say, if you have some extra money in your pocket during all this COVID with all your extra bonuses and everything else, you can go to the vcdl.org/donate page and donate to either the VCDL or the VCDL PAC, or actually both.
Right. And I want to stress, I know that a lot of people are not working right now and money can be tight. Businesses, a lot of them are not doing terribly well with all of the shutdowns and things. But even $1 or $5 or $10 really helps a lot, because it adds up when a bunch of people do that. This coming election cycle, not for 2020, but for 2021, is going to be uber important. And the VCDL PAC is really working now to position itself to be able to help in leveraging that election cycle.
Talking about the 2020 cycle coming up, even, this election coming around, even though it's not a statewide election, it will send a message if it goes a certain direction. Whichever direction it goes, it's going to send a message. We want to make sure it sends the right message. By the way, I was going to remind everybody too, our beloved Senator Warner, just to remind everybody, in 2019, he signed on to an assault weapon ban bill by Dianne Feinstein. So keep that in mind. We don't want to let that slip away. He signed on to that.
A question from Alex is, what is the PAC? We forget we have a lot of new members here. And what's a PAC?
Political Action Committee. just again to give you an idea, my part of the organization, VCDL, is a C4. That is a type of nonprofit. It's not the same as a church, which would be like C3, where donations are tax deductible. Donations to our organization are not tax deductible, but we don't have to pay taxes on them, which allows us to do more. But there are strings attached to being a C4, and that is we can't endorse candidates and so forth. We can tell you what's going on. We can survey candidates. We can tell you what people say or don't say, or what they've done or haven't done. But we just can't take the step of saying, I want you to vote for X or don't vote for X. That's up to you. Now, the Political Action Committee is a different creature, and it has its own funding. And our organization cannot give money to the PAC, even though it's a committee of VCDL. It's a separate entity legally and how it gets funding, but it is not tax exempt, and therefore it can be political. It can endorse candidates, endorse parties. It can give money to candidates. We can't do that. It can do things for candidates like mailings or whatever. That's what the PAC is. So the PAC is the part that goes out and gets us, hopefully, gets elected the candidates that my part of the organization needs to get the job done of protecting or restoring our rights. We don't enhance gun rights, we restore them. Because if they were where they should be, there would be no restrictions on them at all. So they give us the candidates by supporting and doing things that we can't do with the candidates, and then they step aside when it's not an election. And we step in and work to get laws passed or avoided.
Right. And I'm really excited about the PAC moving forward because we have some fresh ideas coming in. Kathy McNichol is the new chair, and she's highly motivated and politically connected. We also have Britton Ross, who used to be in the NRA ILA, and she is also a very motivated and energetic person. And we have several other people on the committee that have some excellent ideas and a lot of fresh energy. And so the PAC, the VCDL PAC, is becoming a lot more active than it's been in the past. Part of that is that there's more need now than there ever was. But part of that is because we have fresh ideas and fresh energy coming into the committee. So watch for PAC alerts coming out with the VA alerts. I believe Kathy has plans to send out regular messages to people through the VA alert system. And watch for various things. Kathy has some speaking engagements, I know, around the state. So they'll be coming out an announcement soon. And you can maybe attend some of those and get involved in the political machine and help get some of these pro-rights people elected and some of the people that are stealing our rights out of office.
Yeah, the more active you can be. Look, I'm not a political animal either. It's never been my most favorite thing to do. But we have to be involved, and the more involved you are, the more we can protect the rights. Again, I wish we didn't have to be, but it's just the nature of living in a free society. There are still things you have to do. As free as you are, you won't be free if you don't stay involved in the politics. Who runs this country and runs this state and runs your locality will make the difference between night and day in what your freedoms look like. And by the way, I saw one that came up here. Jim Hill is asking about ammo. So I figured that's a good segue to a different direction. Believe me, I think we all feel your pain. I remember just before the COVID thing came on, I was sitting there complaining about paying $180 for 1,000 rounds of 9mm. I was sitting there going, geez, 18 cents a round. Geez, do I really want to pay that? Luckily I did, but now, of course, we
60 cents a round is cheap now.
Yeah, 60 cents a round if you can find it. So you would have been able to buy 3,000 rounds for what you now can buy 1,000 for. And yeah, we're all very much aware of the pain. We don't know when that's going to end. But let me say this: I do have to put this out there, because I do see some really big disconnects occasionally with gun owners. As much as I love you guys, some of you guys will sometimes contradict yourselves. I hear a lot where people are going, I absolutely want nothing to do with socialism, nothing to do with communism. I want freedom and liberty. And then ammo prices go up. And suddenly it's, well, can't we put a cap? These guys are they're gouging us. And it's like, no. In a free society, in open trade, and in capitalism, this will all adjust itself. It's a self-balancing scale. If you leave it alone, if you don't have government come in there and stick its thumb on the scale and jam it in one direction, if you leave it alone, it will balance out. As prices go up, demand will go down. As demand goes down, prices will drop. As prices drop, people will want a little more, prices will go up, and eventually it will sort of stabilize like it normally does at some given range where there's enough ammo for everybody. An example of this kind of...
That's a gun store owner. She was bragging to me earlier about her new yacht and her helicopter and all the stuff that she just bought from all the ammo.
Yeah.
I don't know which way to look. She's over there, or she's over
there? No, that's me. There you go. So an example of this that Dennis O'Connor came up with was after one of the hurricanes. It might have been Katrina. People were complaining that people had driven down from further north and brought truckloads of water, but they were charging like $1 a bottle for the water, or $2. And as Dennis pointed out, because people were saying, oh, they're gouging us. What these people were doing is there was a financial incentive for them to pay for a truck, to buy all this bottled water, to drive all the way down to Louisiana, and then distribute this. That cost money, time, effort. But because there was a financial benefit there of quite a bit of money per bottle of water, they were there. Yes, water was expensive, but at least you had water.
And another way to look at it, another thing to look at is that the gun dealers, their rent is the same. Their salaries to their employees are the same. Their electricity is the same, but they're not getting the inventory to move. So they've got to put a higher margin on that inventory because they're not turning it over at the same rate that they were before. Right. So in order for them to keep the lights on, they've got to put a higher margin, and they will be making less money in the end when you get to the bottom line because they just don't have the products to sell. I mean, I got a shipment of 9mm in yesterday. I got 10 whole boxes, not cases, boxes. That's all I could get in my allocation on this shipment. And it's that pitiful. And the big box stores aren't, I mean, they may get a little bit more, but they're not getting any more frequently. I hear people coming in all the time. They say, well, I went to Bass Pro, their shelves were empty. I went to Green Top, their shelves are empty. Well, yeah. So the manufacturers are making it as fast as they can. And keep in mind, too, that a lot of these manufacturers are still under COVID restrictions. They have to do the 6-foot social distancing, and they're running at a limited capacity with a maximum unheard of demand for the product. So it's just the perfect storm.
Yeah, you've got all these new gun owners coming on board that want to get guns and ammo. But again, because the prices are high, some of us that might like to hoard a little bit more ammo aren't doing it because we're not willing to pay that extra price. We've already got some ammo, so we're just going to hang on to that and try to be careful with it. But that means that the new gun owners at least will eventually be able to find ammo. Even if it's very expensive, at least they can find ammo for their guns. If they kept the price low at this demand rate, there would literally be nothing at all, or when it came in, be almost impossible to find. But right now, you can go find 9mm, but you're going to find self-defense ammo, top of the line. You're going to pay $50 a box or whatever, maybe more. But at least you can protect your life. I'll pay if that's all I could get. I'll take it as long as I need ammo in the gunner. It's not good to me. My life is worth a hell of a lot more than the $50 for that box of ammo. So you're just going to have to be patient. These things happen. A good idea is to slowly stock up over time. Buy some extra ammo, set it aside for a rainy day. This is the third rainy day I've been through now. This is the worst, but I've been through this before, and I had stocked up enough to where I basically skated on through. And like when ammo, and it will come back down. I remember the first time we went through this, we were looking at 10, 15, 20 cents for a round of 22 ammo. And Dennis O'Connor looked at me and said, boy, I don't know if it's ever going to go back to 4 cents a round. And yeah, right before all this started, I bought several thousand rounds at 3 cents a round. Right. Now forget it. Now it's 10,
I always get people ask me if is a war coming.
Well, I think the war is here.
They mean a war, not a price war.
No, they did. Well, I tell you what, there isn't a person out there that I've met that isn't worried about where we're heading. And that's part of what's driving this. People are going, I don't know the police are being disbanded. Who's going to come if something really bad happens? Who's going to be able to protect me? Or can I with my neighbors band together to protect our neighborhoods if things really go bad, if there ends up being some kind of a civil war? We're at the point of thinking of things none of us had ever thought seriously about. I pray to God we don't end up there. But only a fool wouldn't at least prepare a little bit just in case, having a little extra water, a little extra food, ammunition.
Well, I think you just touched on something because people that were, quote, preppers and put away extra ammo and water and food stores and things like that. Around here in the country, we call it normal to keep a store of that sort of thing. But for several years now, people have made fun of preppers. And now that we're in a situation where
they're called preppers. We call them wackos.
Right. But now people are starting to see the benefit of putting stuff away for a rainy day or whatever you want to call it. The point here is to be prepared, and being prepared means being ready for whatever might happen in a bad situation. People ask gun owners all the time that carry every day, well, what are you afraid of? Why do you carry a gun? And it's just in case, we hope we don't have to use it. We hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does, we're prepared.
Yes.
And that includes putting away ammo for times when there's shortages and putting away food for times when there's shortages or the stores are closed or whatever.
And for those of you that maybe aren't new gun owners would like to keep practicing, I know during the middle of COVID, my range that I normally shoot at, that I'm a member of as a club, were closed. And there's an outdoor range, but they closed for weeks. I'm sitting there starting to get nervous because I love shooting. I go every weekend. I'm definitely a shooter. And I went and there was there are products online that you can do like training with at home that you can, of course you can all dry fire for practice. But there's one that I've got that's basically uses CO2, and you pull the trigger on your carry gun and it cycles the slide and shoots a laser beam at targets that can do everything from emulating steel plates to doing. So it wasn't cheap. It cost me about $700 for the system, but I could practice day in and day out without even having a range and practice trigger and recoil management, even though it wasn't as powerful a recoil as the gun would normally have, but it let me practice. And with ammo at the prices they're at, that may be an option for some of you, where I know $700 might be a lot to get involved in that. On the other hand, what is that? 1,000 rounds of 9mm, and that's it. So right. It's something to think about.
There's also CO2 pistols that shoot the pellets, 177 pellets, and they're semi-autos. So SIG has the line out now that's full weight and full size. It feels like the regular gun, but it shoots pellet and it uses the CO2 cartridges, and they're kind of fun.
Yeah, and they got BB guns like that shoot full auto.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really have fun with that. And like the unit I have, you go to like Walmart and they sell this big thing of CO2 for making your own beverages, your own carbonated beverages, and you get thousands of shots off of one of those. You simply use that to charge your gun up, and you get like 20 or 25 shots. Then you recharge it again.
Right.
It's that. By the way, those would be wondering. It's called Cool Fire. You could Google that if you're interested in that. That was it's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on my P320. One of my P320s is converted to use it. You just replace your barrel and the recoil spring, and you're pretty much up and running.
Right.
So we're looking at
so
90
I got
minutes.
A message.
Oh, sorry.
I got a message earlier from one of our executive members saying, thanks, you reminded me that it's time to renew. VCDL's renewal time is always September 30th is the expiration date. October 1st starts the new membership year. So if you're a member, you can go online and renew. If you're not switching over to auto payments, then you can do it now. If you're switching over to auto payments, wait till after the 1st of October, and it'll be easier on me. I won't have to go in and reset your renewal date. But it is renewal season, so just that reminder out there.
Speaking of membership, the membership committee is looking at life memberships, family memberships, stuff like that. So stay tuned to the VA alert when we come out with something more tangible on what that is. Maybe take a poll to see if right now we're looking at what it's going to include in different price structures and things like that. But that is something you've asked for, and we're looking at it right now.
Yeah, I see somebody here that said that 1,000 rounds of 9mm came up in notches. One of the gun stores a couple of days ago bought one box with one box limit, and then they were sold out right away. We're all going to have to struggle with this. Again, if you can't afford to buy a lot when prices come down, just work it out over time. Just keep stacking away a little bit here and there, and then when something like this happens, it won't be quite so traumatic. For the new guys, I feel sorry for you. If you're new to guns, understand that you've come in the middle of a storm. It's normally not this crazy. Normally, prices on ammo are a whole lot better. It's easy to find all that you want. It's just right now you're looking at a world that, like everything else around us, it doesn't look like it normally looks. It's
you never shoot warning shots anyway.
Yeah.
No warning shots.
Yeah, I think 22 is probably selling a lot right now too, just because it's relatively cheap.
Any final words?
I had a couple come in and they wanted to buy their first gun, and they ended up buying a Glock, and they bought the Glock 44, which is a 22 caliber, and they bought a 9mm, so they can use the 22 caliber to practice, since that's a little easier to get and more economical. But they're taking a class and learning how to shoot. I'm seeing a lot of new people come into the gun ownership world.
Yeah, and it's a good idea. I have, in fact, I'm putting a red dot on one of my 22 pistols so that I can practice, because I've got red dots on a couple of my guns now, because I really do like them. Once you get used to the red dot and not having to focus on two sights, but just put that dot where you want it, you get spoiled really quick, especially at night. Boy, you cannot miss that red dot.
Especially if you're getting old.
Yeah,
I meant me, not you, Philip. No, I got.
But anyhow,
I got this red dot right here.
There you go. Yep. And that's exactly. I've got a SIG 365 XL that's got a red dot on it, and I've got a SIG P320.
Do you like that gun? I've been looking at that gun.
The XL?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the one I won some bowling pin matches with. It's an accurate little gun, comfortable. Runs on top. You just can't get that sucker to jam. Wonderful gun. I highly recommend. Any of the 365s are wonderful.
I'm getting itchy for that.
Yeah, I did not want to like that gun, but when they first came out, the first one I sold, the customer is a friend of mine, and he said, before I come pick it up, take it to the range and shoot it. And I did, and the second one that came in went on my hip. So
yeah, I've got several of them. They're wonderful. But anyhow, and I know it's getting late, so I guess.
Well, you don't need one of those SIGs, because Jonathan Gold says Biden says all you need is a shotgun. Just pop a few rounds in the air and nothing will happen.
Oh, he should shoot it through the door. Shoot it through the door. So he'll get you all fixed up there. The expert on guns. But anyhow, it's getting late. I appreciate everybody coming out. I don't know how many later on. I'll ask how many people showed up for this. And of course, a lot of people will watch this after the fact. So hopefully, we answered a lot of your questions. As usual, I'm watching the comments going through here. I see a lot of names and people I'm very familiar with, Sean O'Shea and others. But I as always, we're thankful that you're out there. We're thankful that you're engaged. You're here on a night when you're going to go to work tomorrow. Hopefully, if your company's not shut down because of COVID, but at 9:30. Appreciate all of you, and we're going to do this again next month. And just stay on VA alert. Things are cracking left and right. So go ahead, Pat.
Just what you said. Thanks everybody for participating and for being active in defending your rights.
We plan on being on Lobby Day on the 18th of January.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Get one of your friends to sign up and join us in the fight. Thank you and good night.
Good night.